we quarter the force. That's the pattern there. Now you can figure this out not just for doubling, you can kind of figure this out for all sorts of changing of the independent variable. Let's take a peek at a problem that you might be facing on a quiz or a test. Alright, so in this case, we got a problem. Objects 1 and 2 attract each other with an electrostatic force of 81 units. If the distance separating the two charges is tripled, the new electrostatic force will be how many units? Alright, so just breaking apart this, I know that we're going to be messing around with force, electrostatic force. We know that we have 81 units of electrostatic force. I don't know why they didn't just give us newtons. That would be kind of nice, but who cares? Let's just think of a unit as a newton. If the distance, so we know that we're going to increase our distance by a factor of times 3. That could be useful to know. And it's asking us what's our new electrostatic force. So we know that our electrostatic force is 81. We know that our distance, it doesn't give us an original distance, but we do know that it's going to be 3 times bigger. There's kind of a lot here, but it's a lot easier if we kind of pick a strategy. Let's use our data table and use the strategy of picking numbers. So we can't pick the electrostatic force, that they gave it to us in the problem. And let's pick a number for the distance between them. And it does not matter what we pick. I like to pick the easiest ones that we can. Let's pick 1. That's a super easy number to pick. Now, what's happening to the distance in the next test? We're going to be tripling the distance. We know that 1 times 3 is 3. That's simple enough. And now the question is, what is going to be the new force if we've tripled the distance between them? Well, we got to think about our inverse square rule. So what's the inverse of 3? It's 1/3. But it's an inverse square, so we got to, that was a weird parentheses. We got to square that 1/3, and 1/3 squared, if you know your math, is times 1/9. And 81 times 1/9 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81, so 81 divided by 9 is 9. And that's our new force. That's our answer to our problem. So if the distance separating the two charges is tripled, the new electrostatic force will be 9 units. And we're totally done. But you can just think, like, what would happen if I tripled this distance again? 3 times 3 is 9. An inverse square of 3 is 1/9. And we would start to get that same pattern. If you triple the distance, you're going to ninthify. I don't know how to say, multiply by 1/9 the force. So that's how you start doing those problems. Do some of the other practices on your own. A good one to think about, how about you try this one? So let's say that the distance is 2. Our force between them is 10. What would happen if you halved? What would happen if you halved the distance? What would the new force be? What would the